Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. We're going to talk about a couple of things. We got some FUD going on, obviously, in the markets with Bitcoin coming down in price, mainly because of S.E.C suing Kraken and CZ from Binance stepping down and basically pleading guilty to money laundering and things like that. We'll take a look at that. Then we also have a couple of stories on Bitcoin miners. So Bit Digital signed a deal for their AI GPUs as they're going to be doing. So we'll take a look at that. We also have a new story from USBTC. They obviously had the shareholder meeting. They approved the merger with with Hut 8. Getting those two confused now. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll also talk about the press release that came up from Core Scientific and putting out more shares. So, and the stock obviously fell down because of it. So there's quite a few things we're going to take a look at. Also, Bitcoin, obviously, where the price is right now, along with network hash rate difficulty and transaction fees as well. So there's quite a bit here. All right, chapters are going to be down below. As always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the like button, smash the like button, helps YouTube algorithm. So let's get into it here really quick. We'll take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin really quick. And you can see it here on the chart. Bitcoin was obviously up today a little bit towards like mid-morning hours, and then afterwards it started falling down. Obviously, when the news came out that CZ was going to be stepping down, and we went as high as 37,675, came back down, closed out the day at a close at 35,751. We are up now in the new day, up a little bit here, about 0.87%, while we were down 4.6% on the day today in general. Now, on the miners, obviously didn't do too well because of that. Core, as you can see here, was also down quite a bit because of it. But otherwise, the miners didn't do too bad. I mean, they're only down a couple percentage points here for the most part. Not a bad day. BitDeal was down 13, but it had a huge day yesterday, so that was kind of a reversal on that one. Markets were also down a day. So we got a little FUD. That's driving the price down on Bitcoin. And if we look at also some other things that are happening here as far as the network right now, the network hash rate has been hitting new all-time highs here again. So it looks like we reached about 546 exahash here just on November 18th. So this was about a day or two ago. And that has continued to kind of come down here recently. But nonetheless, we're still going up quite a bit here. And it is an increase from the 506 exahash that we had here back in September of the 14th. So basically a month out, and we're up another 50 exahash someplace, close to that 40-some exahash. So machines are still being plugged in. Wondering if it's maybe Marathon that's plugging in some of those miners that they're supposed to get plugged in as well, and maybe some others. We'll have to find out, obviously, in the November production updates that we get in December. So we'll take a look at those. Other interesting thoughts here is the total transaction fees here. You can see here that we definitely had a spike in transaction fees in May of this year, which obviously we saw the miners doing really good as far as revenue is concerned on that month. They definitely mined a heck of a lot more Bitcoin because of it. And then we're seeing also, excuse me, a more subdued increase in the transaction fees. But the good thing is that it's lasting, it looks like it's lasting longer. So it's a more prolonged right now increase in that. So that's also going to be good, I think, to the miners for, obviously, for November numbers as well. So they should have really good revenues for the month of November, as long as they can keep their uptime up all the time. Okay. So a couple of things to note here on that. And let me see if there's anything else. I'll take a look at the transaction fees in USD. We can see here that right now at the peak, it was about $11 million a day extra in fees. And prior to that, we are now at 6.4. Otherwise, over the past June, August, and September, October months, we were kind of averaging around, I would say, maybe right around 805,000 only per day in transaction fees. So this is obviously a huge impact on the miners for November. And this basically started right around November, it looks like, right? Beginning of November, it started to go up here. We're still quite high on it. So eventually we know that the Bitcoin transaction fees are going to be what pays the miners basically to secure the network going forward. But we didn't think it was going to happen quite this fast, or I was thinking it's going to be, at least another 20, 30 years, 40 years down the road, when we have a lot more having events, until we get to a point where the miners will have to rely on the network transaction fees for their revenue and support, basically, to support the network and secure the network. Okay. So just wanted to point that out to you guys. Now let's get into the stories that we do have here. First one, obviously, is US S.E.C. sues Kraken crypto exchange over failure to register. They've been battling with Kraken here for a while on one thing or another. So November 20th, Kraken, one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, was sued on Monday by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, which accused it of illegally operating as a security exchange without first registering with the regulator. Right? So it's one of those things where they want you to register, but then they don't give you any guidance on how to register and things like that. Kraken intends to defend itself, saying Congress should decide how to regulate cryptocurrency exchanges and calling the S.E.C. view of digital assets incorrect as a matter of law, false as a matter of fact, and disastrous as a matter of policy. And we're seeing this also from others, from like Coinbase. I think Binance has also been sued by them as well. So we'll see how this works out. And then the San Francisco-based exchange also said the lawsuit will not affect its more than 10 million clients. So that's good news there. And like I said, in June, the S.E.C. filed similar lawsuits against Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, and Coinbase, the largest in the United States. Both are defending against the regulator's claims here. So that's FUD number one, right? FUD number two is obviously going to be on Binance, but we'll have to see how that plays out for Kraken and Coinbase and Binance in general with the S.E.C. But I have a feeling that we'll get some kind of either a settlement on that or maybe Congress will actually do something about it, but we'll see. All right, now this one was actually interesting here. So Binance CEO, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, so I'm going to call him S.E.C, pleads guilty as part of a broad pact with U.S. authorities. And this is obviously pretty interesting because you probably know Binance is one of the largest in the world here. And S.E.C has been obviously a strong proponent of Bitcoin, crypto, all of that. But he has possibly been skirting the laws a little bit here. Okay, so Binance CEO S.E.C is stepping down and pleading guilty to violating anti-money laundering requirements as part of a wide-ranging deal his company reached with the U.S. authorities, a dramatic fall for the leader of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. And it is obviously a big shakeup here in the crypto land. We're seeing that impact here on this Bitcoin price in general, and then obviously the miners because of it, but not so much. And in a way, I actually think this might be kind of good. It is going to put some measures in place to prevent anti-money laundering and all those things at Binance, and we'll read that here down below. But I think this might be actually a good thing going forward for the crypto industry in general. So continuing on here, Binance, as part of the deal, will pay regulators and prosecutors penalties of $4.3 million and also plead guilty to criminal charges relating to money laundering, conducting an unlicensed money transmitting a business, and sanctions violations. So that's a lot of money. $4.3 billion, that's a lot. And then S.E.C also agreed to pay a $50 million fine. He is barred from involvement in Binance's business until 3 years following the appointment of a monitor to ensure Binance complies with all laws, according to court documents. But he was allowed to maintain his majority ownership of the exchange. So it sounds like he's definitely not going to have any part of Binance. I think they can ask him questions as far as other things, but it's looking like he's going to be completely out for the most part. And in a Twitter tweet that he posted, he's looking to maybe be, what's the word I'm looking for here? To help out other small startups as well and some of the industries that he is interested in. So he's going to definitely be more involved in that and probably take a vacation, I think he said as well. Here's a quote from him. I made a mistake and I must take responsibility. S.E.C wrote on X, formerly Twitter, this is the best for our community, for Binance, and for myself. And I agree with this, right? Unfortunately, we are kind of losing one of the biggest proponents for crypto and Bitcoin and everything else in the space. But I think Binance is in a place right now where it will be just fine without him. It's got definitely the people that it needs in there. And then obviously the oversight that it's going to have right now will make sure that it stays in the lines basically of regulations and laws on that one. And I think that was it here that I wanted to cover. I mean, it's a pretty good article here. You guys can take a read, take a look at it. Definitely recommend also checking out S.E.C's Twitter, reading that as well. But overall, you know, they've been after him. And from what I gather, this was based on money laundering, possibly that the U.S. regulators are saying that terrorist groups were using it and things like that. But then again, I mean, still a very small percentage of that being done on exchanges. The biggest offender is still the U.S. dollar, unfortunately, cash, right? Untraceable for the most part. And that's the way things are usually laundered right now. So maybe they should do something about the U.S. dollar as well. But neither here nor there. Okay. So that's it for that one. So those are the two FUD stories that we do have right now that's kind of impacting the markets here. It's going to be maybe another day or two before things kind of shake out a little bit and before we possibly get over this. But right now, it's obviously having an impact. All right. So next, let's take a look at BitDigital here. We'll get through these really quick. Let's see here. BitDigital Inc. announces finalized AI customer contract terms and data center location. It is good, but we are missing some information here, and I'll point that out to you guys, at least what I would like to see in this press release. So BitDigital is pleased to announce that it has finalized its service agreement with its first customer of its new business line, BitDigital AI. Under the terms of the agreement, BitDigital will supply the customer with computational power from 1,504 GPUs for a period of 3 years. The contract will commence January 2024 and represents more than $35 million of annualized revenue to BitDigital. Okay, so there's a lot there in that paragraph. The main thing here is that I see is the 1,504 GPUs. If you have 8 GPUs in a server, you're looking at 188 servers basically. I did some pricing on this a little bit as far as what those servers would cost, and I was getting like 100-some thousand per server, which is just insane. But then again, those GPUs do cost a pretty penny. So based on 188 servers, over 100,000, we're looking at like 20 to 22 million just to buy these servers. Then you obviously have to get them installed, running, whatever software is going to be installed on them, whatever that might be. You're probably looking all in all, what is that going to be? Maybe 100 or 20, maybe, well, I'll just say 25 million for everything. They're being installed and ready to go for them. So the first year, they're going to make 35 million. 25 million is going to be used, obviously, to purchase these. So that gets them about 10 million extra in revenue in the first year. On the second year, we're looking at obviously 35 million and then another 35 million after that. So we're at basically 80 million at the end of 3 years, which is still pretty good because if we actually look at their numbers here, and these are BitDigital numbers here for the last quarterly results, they've generated basically in the last 4 quarters and the current quarter, well, the current quarter we're estimating about 11 million, but the last 4 quarters they've generated only 36 million. So it's basically the same amount, roughly 35 million to 36 million. It's roughly the same amount that they've generated in the last year here on Bitcoin mining. Obviously, we've been in a bear market here with Bitcoin here recently. So this is not indicative of normal performance when we're in a bull run. They're going to definitely make more, possibly from Bitcoin than they will from AI. But nonetheless, it's still going to be a good cash cow for them, I think, going forward, other than the first year where they have to spend out 20 to 25 million on getting those machines. But overall, I think that's pretty good. So we'll have to see how this goes forward. We got other companies that are doing this as well. Hive is one of them. Hut 8, who else is getting into it? Iris Energy is getting into it. And I'm pretty sure I'm missing somebody else here, or a couple more that are getting into the space as well. So it's definitely an interesting space to get into, possibly. We'll have to do some more research on it. But continuing on here, to fulfill the contract, the company has placed a purchase order for servers manufactured by Supermicro Computer and authorized NVIDIA OEM that are equipped with the 1,504 NVIDIA HGX H100 GPUs, along with related equipment, which are expected to be delivered to the company by January 2024. So that would be good. If they can get those deployed within the first month, get them operational and going, that would be a great thing. And we'll see how things go forward from there. So obviously, the first month we'll get data on them would be probably or not the first month. The first data we'll get on this will be on the Q1 results for them, which probably won't come out until probably April, somewhere around there, right? So we'll see how that works out for them. But nonetheless, I think this is pretty good here based on the numbers that we're seeing right now. We'll have to see, obviously, the actual numbers that get reported when they do report them. All right, next here, US Bitcoin. Corp stockholders approved transformational business combination with Hut 8. So this has been in the works for, I think, almost a year, if not a year. But this is something that's been both being done with Hut 8, obviously doing the stuff in the background, regulatory things, approvals, things like that, shareholder approvals, everything else. I think this was one of the last hurdles that they had to get through was to have US Bitcoin Corp approve, the shareholders approve this. So they did. So US Bitcoin Corp is thrilled to announce that its stockholders have overwhelmingly voted in favor of the proposed business combination with Hut 8 Mining. The new stock ticker was going to become Hut at the end of the term here, which is down here. And the transaction is expected to close by November 30th of this year, subject to customary closing conditions. So we may have, it's going to be interesting how they're going to do this because you obviously have multiple locations with different things. how are they going to report this on their monthly production updates? Are they going to do them split, or are they going to do them as a one unit basically as HUT going forward? So that'll be interesting to find out on that. We're going to have to do some obviously changes to my spreadsheet a little bit to get them all at the same numbers. And yeah, we'll have to see. But I think this is obviously good for HUT 8. They needed this. They haven't grown much here in the last year. They've had problems after problem, lawsuits and sites being down. So this is actually really good. I think this will help them go forward here. Definitely would like to see them grow even more. We know that HUT 8 is also buying, or put a bid in to buy some gas power plants in Canada, which is going to be used obviously as a peaker plant, and also to help them mine some more Bitcoin there, or whether it's going to be the AI stuff that they're going to be doing as well. Okay. So a lot of good things here happening for them. We'll see how the shares are split up and everything else after the transaction here, the merger, and then how things are going to go forward. So stay tuned for that. We'll keep you guys posted on that one as well. And then lastly here, we got Core Scientific. This one kind of threw me off a little bit. I didn't know what to make of this right now. I'm not a Chapter 11 bankruptcy attorney or accountant or any of those things. So this was all a bunch of gibberish to me for the most part. But here's kind of what I got out of it. Holders of existing common interest entitled to purchase pro rata portion of up to 55 million shares of reorganized Core Scientific. So it looks like we're having dilution there. A couple weird things here. Let me see if I can point them out to you guys. It was down here. Each holder of existing common interests will receive one subscription right for each existing common interest held as of 5 p.m. New York City time on November 16th, 2023, which is the record date. So if you held shares at that point, I believe it looks like you might be able to buy shares after, I believe, they are out of the Chapter 11 part of it. And correct me if I'm wrong on this. If you guys know more details on this and how it's going to work, please comment down below. I'd love to hear it. But here's something else. So each subscription right will entitle the holder to purchase 0.01734 shares of common stock of the reorganized company following its emergence from the Chapter 11 case. So why is it such a small percentage of the share that you can? That's the part that I don't get. After reorganization and everything else, you're only able to buy 0.1734 shares for every share that you own currently. And then at the anticipated subscription price of $8.21 per whole rights offering share. What the heck is that? I'm not sure what that is, the rights offering share. So you're only able to get 0.017. So that would be basically, you'd be paying like 14 cents per share or something like that. My math is correct on this, 14, 18 cents, something like that per share. That seems really weird. So I don't understand that correctly. And let me see if there's anything else here. I think the rest of it, let's see here. There will be no fractional rights offering share will be issued. So now you can get fractional shares. Sometimes those will not be available, but then they're still doing the 0.017. That's kind of fractional. That doesn't make any sense either to me. So like I said, if you guys have any details on this, let me know. But obviously the stock, well, the market didn't like it. The shareholders didn't like it because the stock went down quite a bit here. So if we look at it on this chart over here, we can see that Core right now was down. Well, it actually bounced a little bit. It was down to 35 cents and it bounced back up to about 50 cents. So it did recoup a little bit here, but it definitely was not happy about it during the day. But like I said, let me know what you guys think of this, or if you have any insights on this, or if you know more on that. I would love to hear it. And I got to do a little bit more research on this. Maybe see if I can find somebody on Twitter that's like a Chapter 11 attorney or somebody that knows this stuff better to get some insight onto this. Okay, but that's it. So we'll see how things go. We got tomorrow, obviously Wednesday, which is going to be the day before Thanksgiving. Then the market is going to be closed on Thursday, and then we're only open partially on Friday for the market. So we'll see what happens there. And then we're getting close to December. We got one more week after that, and we're in December already. Man, time is flying by. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We're still waiting on CleanSpark to provide their Q4 results, which is their fiscal year. And that's probably not going to happen until December sometime. We're still waiting on a couple. I think we're waiting on Stronghold to provide their production update, which they haven't provided yet, which is also, again, kind of concerning there. They're usually pretty late on those. I'd like to see them report those a little bit earlier. But anytime a company stops providing them, that's usually a little red flag there as well. So we'll see on that one. Okay. But we'll leave it at that. We'll see what happens tomorrow and then on Friday, and we'll go from there. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a great night. Bye.